Chapter 4. There is a quaint flower garden in the courtyard tucked between Kim's apartment building and the structure adjacent. It sits secluded from the bustle of the city and offers refuge from the lights and noise that plague her evenings. She has just arrived back home and takes a seat on a park bench that has begun to be overtaken by vines. This is her favorite place to relax at night, even more than her apartment, and especially so when nobody else is around. The clearing is peaceful, and better yet, there are plenty of spiders mixed into the foliage. She should be able to come away with at least a few for the night before turning in, although even a handful is hardly enough to satisfy. Kim removes a business card from her pocket with the name Robert McCullough and phone number inscribed upon it below his handwritten sticky note. Call me anytime. The meeting went well enough, even though the audience was filled with mostly anorexics and bulimics. Eating disorders, yes, though it is still proving incredibly difficult to find the right group of people to take her issues seriously. Better than nothing, she supposes. Robert told her to call at any time of day or night, whenever she needs support, but his phone would be ringing off the hook if that were the case. She needs to eat like anyone else, yes, but the obstacle of quitting spiders altogether has proven to be unsurmountable when that is the only food she can stomach. Step by step, onward and upward. Many of the programs seem to require the participants to relinquish themselves to a higher power, though that has also been a monolithic hurdle to vault. All of her prayers and wishes went unanswered for years when Alexander was still alive, and seem to have backfired with the opposite result now. Regardless of a religious conviction, negative thoughts won't heal any of her issues in the slightest. Of that much she is certain from heaps of past experiences. Kim stares into the peaceful night sky for answers, as she has every morning since her husband died, and once more finds nothing but further questions. An airplane crosses overhead and leaves a trail in the blackness behind it. Oh, how nice it would feel to be so free and fly across the heavens, whether or not they exist. I envy you up there, whoever you are, even though I envy a great many people. 10 minutes of reflection pass and the coast is still clear, as it almost always is. Kimberly stands and gives the garden another glance over to ensure she is alone and drops to the soil in search of dinner. She crawls through the foliage as low to the ground as possible, her angular and stick-like limbs each moving carefully to avoid poking any thorns, as she can't afford to spare the blood. Her eyes have adapted well to hunting in the dark, when some of her favorite spiders begin to grow more somber and docile, making the meals that much easier to come by without a struggle. 2 feet ahead, resting in the center of a slightly drooping leaf, sits a green lynx spider, one of Kim's favorites. With a bright body resembling the interior of kiwi fruit, it is the closest she will get to eating something grown from a plant. Its long, barbed legs cause discomfort going down, which she loves, similar to how many people enjoy the sensation of eating spicy food. The green lynx is a hunting spider and doesn't rely on a nest to eat, so Kim inches forward carefully not to scare it away into the brush, whereas most spiders won't leave their web. She crawls patiently, knowing impulsivity will only prolong the time period until her next meal. Her mouth begins to water as she raises her head and neck above the sleeping green lynx, feeling as though her own fangs will extend to immobilize her prey. Kim lunges forward at last with her mouth in a circular shape and vacuums the arachnid into her throat as it awakens, spreading its 8 legs and scratching all the way down. She rolls over on her back, feeling more than satisfied with her first find of the night, while tickles and scrapes paint her insides. "I'm sorry, friend, but I hope you understand, seeing as you would have done the same if the tables were turned." Staring at the stars once more, Kim eyes an egg sac dangling from the underside of the leaf stem. The tiny orange orbs nearly glow through the web with at least 100 spiderlings inside ready to meet the world. "It seems awfully wrong to separate a mother from her children," she thinks, and reaches up with her head to pluck the sac from the plant like a grape, swallowing it whole to reunite the family. This is the most full and conversely most happy she has felt in weeks, a euphoria only hindered by the cloud of lingering guilt. Baby steps. "Oh my goodness, are you all right down there?" An elderly man says, nearly scaring the egg sac back out of her. "Did you fall down?" "No, I just dropped something and was looking for it. Nothing to worry about here." Kim stands quickly and brushes herself off to preserve the fragile illusion of normalcy. "Well, do you need any help? I wouldn't mind." "Nope, I already got it. It was just my earring, yes, but it's safe in my pocket now." Kim smiles at him, hoping to avoid any further questions. She has already exposed herself far more than she is comfortable with over the last couple days. "Alrighty then, that's good news." The old man eyes her again, making her feel self-conscious about her weight, or lack thereof. "Say, what's a pretty young lady like yourself doing out here alone at night? Aren't you scared of running into any undesirable types?" Even with knowing that pretty young lady means something entirely different coming from someone his age, Kim still blushes slightly, though it is hidden in the dark. "Not out here, no. I sit on this bench every night before dinner because it helps me relax." "You do? I sit out here every night too, but I ain't never seen you before. Now that I think about it, Evelyn did fall asleep pretty early tonight, and I usually come out here after she's in bed so I can smoke my cigars. She don't like me smoking 'em inside, you see. Hell, she don't like me smoking 'em at all, but shit. I figure I made it this far and there ain't no point in stopping now. Sorry, I shouldn't speak that way in the presence of a lady." "No need to apologize, and feel free to smoke all you want in front of me. I don't mind. I say you should do what makes you happy because life is way too short to worry." "Ha! Don't I know it?" He guffaws. "I'd rather spend the next 10 days with a stogie in my mouth than 10 years without. Some things just aren't worth giving up, you know, long as it ain't hurting no one else." "Do you think there's a possibility you would eventually be happier without smoking? If you gave it up and got used to a different life doing something else with your time? Hypothetically speaking." "Shit, no, not a chance. I wouldn't be me in that case, and what's the point of living if I can't be me? I've been smoking these bastards for 50 years, and it's the only life I know. It's a humble life, sure, but only bad things are in store for those who ain't never known humility. Pardon my manners. You want to smoke? I got plenty of cigars." "That is very kind, but no, thank you. I have enough vices of my own as it is." She sighs. The old man stares at her from the side of his eye while she looks down at the floor. "Yeah, having one vice ain't too bad, but mixing multiple can turn disastrous depending on what they are. Name's Ernest, by the way. Ernest in 6A. She scoffs. "I'm in 6B. Sorry for any noise I might have made recently, and the name is Kimberly." "Not to worry. Evelyn can't barely hear at all anymore, and my ears are seemingly to be right behind hers. We're fine down here. Keep doing what you do. Neither of us have much to complain about."
"Thank you. I will keep that in mind, although I am a quiet person by nature. I probably don't even make a sound walking across the floorboards."
Ernest puffs the cigar into the tranquil night air and looks her up and down again. "No, I suppose you don't. Our daughter fell into something similar and got hooked on all kinds of junk. She almost blew away in the wind by the time we got hold of her again. I used to have a real nice house and a state pension, but sponsoring several rounds of rehab for her landed us in this here apartment. Maybe I should make an amendment to my previous statement. Having one vice is quite all right, long as you can control it. Some folks get a taste of something they like and completely lose themselves in it."
Kim grimaces towards the plants and contemplates telling him the truth so he doesn't think she is a drug addict. But she is an addict nonetheless, and the details don't matter. It can happen quickly, taking the first step down that ladder and then tumbling the rest of the way. Sometimes you don't even know what happened until you wake up from the fall.
"You sure you ain't my daughter?" She would say the same type of things, though we didn't know what the hell she meant at first. Always speaking in riddles.
Admitting you have lost control of yourself? It would take a lot of courage.
"Yeah, took me a long time to figure out, but you're right. Only the brave can face their problems and defeat them. I used to think brave people wouldn't get themselves in that situation at all, but now I know that ain't true. Can't call yourself courageous if you ain't already walked through hell. That much is fact,"
he affirms with a nod and a puff from the cigar. Kim stares at him with a developing sense of wonder. This unamusing old man on the outside who has seen and lived through so much. All of her problems, her fears and inadequacies suddenly seem so small by comparison.
"And your daughter? How is she now?" "She's doing just fine, I suppose. She got clean, if that's what you meant. Hasn't touched none of that junk in years to my knowledge. Although I suppose I would find out eventually if I got the bill to pay for rehab again. Yeah, it sure did take her a lot of work to kick that stuff. But she kept at it and eventually kicked it for good. That much I believe. Sure am proud of her for that, since I'm sure many people never get out of the hole, or so I heard."
She looks down at her withering hands and twiddles her bony fingers as if spinning a web of her own, riddled with thoughts and doubt instead of delicate silk. "I'm glad she's doing better. I know it is a tough road to get clean and a lot of people never make it out." Ernest nods and taps his cigar in the ashtray to put it out.
"I ought to get back inside before Evelyn notices I'm gone. All these years of marriage and she still has a sense about when I'm doing something I shouldn't. We're just downstairs if you ever need anything. Don't be shy."
"I'm doing fine for now, but I will. Thank you. Likewise, I'm never far away."
"You sure you don't want to smoke? I brought extra."
"I appreciate the offer, but I have everything I need right here. Maybe next time." Kim smiles at him weakly and waves before diving back into the garden as soon as Ernest is out of sight, to suck up several more spiders and sacks. "Good evening, Anna. I hope you had a restful day." Kim locks the door behind her and walks toward the couch, careful to step softly so as not to disturb Evelyn and Ernest beneath. "My day was busy, but in both good and bad ways. I feel as if I am continuing to move one step forward and 2 steps back at all times. Maybe even several more backwards.
It's funny how I keep wrestling with myself about living the life I want and forcing myself to change. Then again, I don't want to eat spiders, but it is a compulsion I can't shake. The ritual and satisfaction of your tiny legs tickling my throat is immensely gratifying. I want to feel better, to feel free of my guilt and begin again. I was married once, before I lived here, to the love of my life. His name was Alexander, and I have been absolutely shattered since he died. Kim pauses to bite her lower lip and forces herself to hold back tears. Her cheeks have sunken so far she has difficulty grasping it between her teeth, but stops the crying from coming regardless. It would only make her feel more uncomfortable. I'm sorry about that, but I have never talked about his death before, and that is as much as I am able to say for now. It is still too painful. I suppose I am preaching to the choir, though. Your husband is dead too. The Black Widow shifts in its web, as if with a receipt of acknowledgement. Kim sinks back into the couch and stares at her ceiling, feeling equally trapped and liberated by her recent life choices, yet knowing deep down that she and Anastasia are on a collision course of convergence. Soon they will become one. I believe inside that I can get better. I know one day I might wake up in a happy and stable life, thankful that I survived all of my struggles to get there. I know it. But why is it so difficult to stay focused on the goal? Every time I make any progress, there's a separate voice that rips at my chest and tells me lies of how a renewed sense of self will feel. It says that I will be miserable for a totally different reason, and that moving on from Alexander is as good as forgetting him. But I know it is the only way forward. I feel that once you enter my body, it will bring me everlasting peace. I'll explain everything later. She pulls Robert's card out again with a half a mind to call him, but thinks better of it. They just saw each other earlier in the evening, and she doesn't want to come off as excessively needy. There is another meeting tomorrow night, and they can speak about anything else then. The message has been received clearly. To live one day at a time and only control the controllable. In due time, Kim hopes to slowly reintroduce human foods into her diet, although nothing will improve until she faces her past traumas.